Hello, this is Eric, and welcome to another episode of the craziness that lives inside my head. I title this episode Boo-Boo-Whopper, My 430-Pound Life. This is the G version. If you want the X-rated version, I advise you to read my books. But this is a G-rated program or episode. And Boo-Boo-Whopper used to be my nickname. And you said, well, why Boo-Boo-Whopper? Well, the person who gave me that nickname we used to work together at Hertz Rent-A-Car as car transporter. And every time we stop, you work 6 hours, sometimes 10 hours a day. And of course, you got to stop for lunch. I always got a Whopper and Burger King. The way that job works is 7 of us in a station wagon. They don't make station wagons anymore, but it was 7 of us in a station wagon will drive to a small town to pick up Hertz cars that was rented out, and we would pick them up. Let me back up for a minute. What happened is, in New York City, at the airports, if you want to get home, you could either take a bus or a cab, or you could rent a car. And most people, especially if they live in Jersey or Long Island, they would go to the airport, arrive at the airport, rent a car, and drive it home. And then they'll drop it off at the local gas station. And as a car transporter, our job was to go to these local gas stations and pick up the cars and bring them back to the airport. Usually in the station wagon, there's 7 of us. So you got 7 people in the station wagon going to these small suburban towns in the middle of the night, picking up Hertz cars to bring them back to the airport. And that's back in the 70s. And car theft in the suburbs weren't as bad as in the city. So the customer would just leave the keys under the seat, or if it's a gas station, usually it's a gas station, but some gas station owners would collect all the keys that the customers left and hide them somewhere on the property, and only we know where he or she had hid the keys. So we would drive to these airports in these suburbs, drive to these car stations in these suburbs, pick up these cars, and drive them back to the airport. And most likely, we did it 6 days a week, and most likely we'll stop at our favorite restaurant to have lunch or break. And it was always for us, especially if I'm in the car, part of the crew, was Burger King. And I always ordered a Whopper. So one of the fellow employees noticed this, and my last name was Booth, so he started calling me Boo-Boo-Whopper. And I was a Whopper, all right. I was close to, I was 300 and change. I weighed 330 pounds, I think, at that point. This is back in the 70s. So now, the way I grew up as a fat kid, I was a fat kid. My mother told me she used to find me sleepwalking, heading to the refrigerator and eating a snack in the middle of the night. Because I don't remember it. She said, I caught you and I yelled at you, and you realized you were sleeping, eating. I used to do that as a child. Ate, woke up and ate at the middle of the night. As an adult, I did that for a long time. I was telling people when I was at my highest, I would eat every 2 hours. I would wake up. I was in my 30s. I would wake up in the middle of the night, and I knew it, and I wasn't sleepwalking. I knew this. Wake up in the middle of the night, go to the refrigerator, and have a cup or maybe 2 cups of ice cream. Then go back to bed. Then maybe 2 hours later, wake up, go to the refrigerator, and I used to have orange juice. I pretty much was eating almost every 2 hours at the top of my weight. But as a child, my mother said I was sleepwalking, eating. And it must have frustrated her because of my weight. I was exploding as a child, weight-wise. Sometimes she wanted to buy my clothes for school shopping. What school starts right after Labor Day in September. So maybe a week or 2 weeks, she might go shopping because that's when sometimes they have the sales. Buy me some clothes, and then when school opens, I can't get into them because I got fat. So time went on. Of course, I kept gaining weight. You know how it is. Now I was in junior high school. When I was in junior high school, when school started, especially we had gym class. So they would weigh you. I think how they did it. I'm not 100%, but I know in gym class they weighed you. We used to have the nurse. The nurse once a month or whatever will come in, and the nurse or the doctor will come in, and you get a physical. Um, I think it was once a year probably, but then I'm just saying that the nurse and whatever. So they weigh you, and she was weighing me. The old time when you stand on the scale and they push that weights over, and I had my back. My back was to the door. So one of my schoolmates snuck up behind me and the nurse, and he saw how much I weighed. Now, mind you, I was what, 12 years old, 13 years old? And he saw what I weighed, and I weighed 210 pounds at 13. He went back and told everybody in the class, and that became my nickname for those 2 years that I was in junior high school. 210. Here come 210. 2 tons of fun. Remember them? Well, I was 210. They were 2 tons. I was 210 in junior high school. And it wasn't cute being fat back then. I mean, we all know back then people made fun of you and people bully you, and which is interesting. As I got older, especially when I stopped drinking and drugging and lost some weight, I realized, from my experience, the more people make fun of you, the more you wanted to eat. Telling someone they're fat every day didn't help the situation. When someone said, "You're so fat," I think I ran and had a cookie. Though my grandmother would say, you need to lose weight, but you still cook pies and cakes, So now we're in high school. And gym class, like I said, this is back in the 70s. I have no idea what's going on. This is year 2021 with these kids in school today. But we had gym. I know a friend who had gym twice a week because could you believe it or not, he failed gym. He failed gym the year before. I didn't say the year before, but the semester before. So he had 2 gym classes to make up. He had one to make up and gym for that semester. And the reason why he failed gym because he just didn't show up. But anyway, Which was very, I'm going to tell you something. In high school, gym was very stressful, especially as a fat kid. The things they make you do in gym. I mean, I know we used to play basketball. I hated basketball. I didn't mind basketball, what they call a half court. Okay, I play half court. I'm there. I didn't do too much because half court is. But when it came to competition, we had to play full court. And then I got yelled at the gym teacher because they're running down the other end. And I know they got to come back. So he said, "You're supposed to run down the other end." I said, "No, I ain't running over this. That's too much work. Look, I'll wait for them to come back." So in order for him for not to fail me for gym, he said, "I tell you what." He was the track coach, and he was looking for he wanted to recruit students for the track team. So he said, "I tell you what, join the track team and be the shot put." I said, "I need a shot put. I only got one shot put. Join the track team, be the shot put, and I'll pass you for gym. You don't even have to come to the gym class. I'll just pass you for gym, but you gotta be on the team." I said, "Okay, you damn right." And shot put, you just take that little ball and just, throw it here and throw it there. I figured, oh, why not? That's not. So anyway, I was on the team trying to do the shot put. Make a long story short, I was only the shot put. They already had a shot put, and I was only the second shot put for what? Maybe a week or 2 weeks, and then he said, you know what? We really don't need another shot put. What we do need is a half miler. We only have one half miler, so I'm making you the second half miler. What's a half miler? Half mile when you run around the track. I had to run around the track twice. You talk about stress. It got to the point, and then my coach would yell at me. He said, "This is not a marathon. Move that fat ass." Oh, God. In front of all these people. So, but I did it because he said he was going to pass me for gym. And then I realized, after a couple of months, that was his sneaky way of getting me to lose weight. Pushing me to lose weight. Hindsight, he did me a favor because hindsight, I did lose a lot of weight. But it wasn't for him and other things in my life to help me. Got me, trained me to do certain things. And by the time I got that age when I had to do it, I already had things under my belt. And that was one of them. I was on the track team. I was a half miler. I only did it for a year, but I passed gym, so that was a good thing. Now, you think that's something? I go to City College. City College, I kept changing my major. My first major was electrical engineer, but after I think I failed calculus. I didn't fail calculus. I passed calculus. I got a D. There's 3 years of calculus. I got a D in all 3 years. And then the dean, the electrical engineering dean, called me in his office. He said, "Well, I don't think this is the course for you because you got D's in three semesters of your calculus, and the math is going to get even rough because now we got to do statistics." I said, "What?" He said, "That's more math. I suggest you change your major." So I did change my major. I went to be I took education courses in case I wanted to be a teacher. I didn't know I wanted to be a teacher, but I took education courses. And I didn't know, by taking education courses, I had a math class. I had a gym class. They had gym. I had to go to the gym. I had to pass gym. And I said, what the? Because that was part of the educational curriculum. Learning gym. Doing gym stuff. I guess for the kids when I became a teacher. But lucky for me, my gym class had the wrestling coach teaching it, and he did the same thing as my track coach. He came up to me. I had to be close to 300. I'm gonna tell you something that was more stressful, but I'll tell you in a minute. I had to be definitely more than 300. He said if you join the wrestling team, because we don't have a heavyweight, that's one weight class we don't have, and you know, because you have to be a certain weight. So I want you to join, and you be the heavyweight, and I'll pass you for gym. You don't have to come to class. I'll pass you for gym. I said, well, thank you. That's great. That's what I did. Joined the wrestling team, and I didn't have to, that's one class a week that I didn't have to go to. That became stressful. I got weighed at least once a week. He had me running around the track. Now I didn't have to make weight, mind you. All the other guys had to make weight. So if you was a 190 pounder, and let's say Monday morning, because he weighed you Monday morning. If you weigh yourself Monday morning and you 200, and that's too much. But if you're 195 on Monday, and we have a meet on Saturday, and you have to be down to 190, that's five. That give you a week to lose 5 pounds. I didn't have to make weight. I had to been back then. I think I was close to 300. I think I was close to 300. I didn't have to make weight. But my wrestling coach wanted me to lose weight. Not so much for the team. And he said if I lost weight, I'd probably be more agile to wrestle. But for my health. I said, okay, as long as you pass me. And that was, I got, one time I got pinned in 1, 2, 3, the guy pinned me because the guy was smaller and usually 190 pounders did heavyweight in school. This 190 pounder guy picked me up off my feet, mind you. I've never been picked up off my feet in my whole entire life. Picked me up off my feet, what they call a fireman carriage, would shock the shit out of me and pinned me. 1, 2, 3, pin. And my coach had a fit. I'm not going to say all the words tell you all the words he said to me. So now, but did I lose any weight? Yeah, I lost weight. I think I lost 10 pounds when I was on the wrestling team. Just like on the track team, I think I lost 10 pounds. Of course, when summer came, I gained 10 pounds plus 10 more. Same thing in college. I think I lost 10 pounds. I was on the wrestling team for like 3 years. I think maybe I lost 10 pounds, maybe 20. And then after I left college, I gained it all back plus maybe 20, 30 more. You know how the story is. Yo-yo. I was a yo-yo. Okay. Now, I just want to say this. It was the disco era. And I was a fat discoer. People used to say to me, gosh, you're so big, but you're so light on your feet. That's one thing I loved to do in the 70s. I loved to drink. It started off with rum and coke. It ended with Southern Comfort and orange juice. I shouldn't say I loved. I did smoke reefer. Reefer didn't do much to me, but when I was introduced to angel dust, wow, that was heavenly. Because when you're on angel dust at the disco, with the lights going and the music blaring, you can be anybody you want. I loved it. I loved it so much, I think I blew up to 350 pounds. Well, by 1979, I took my first plane ride to San Francisco. You know why I went to San Francisco? Because the Village People made a song about San Francisco, the city across the bay. I loved the song so much, I said, I'm going to San Francisco. My first plane ride to San Francisco, JFK Airport. Couldn't fit in the seat. I couldn't fit in the seat. I was squashed in that seat. And I was a very annoying person because I never flown before and I was so nervous. So I got high. I drank maybe close to a half gallon, because I was a drinker of rum, 151 proof. Because I went on that plane, I remember I had to get. Oh, that's what it is. I had to get the extension. I got it from the stewardess when the seatbelt wouldn't shut. She go, "Oh, we got the extension." She handed me the extension. Meanwhile, it was packed, and I was a mess. I was in the middle seat, I think, and the people next to me, I was all over them, and they I and then on top of that, I fell asleep and I snored. When I woke up to go to the bathroom, I could tell by the people looking, staring at me. I was like, anyway, when I got to San Francisco, those stewardess was glad to get me the hell off that plane. Now, that was my first trip ever on a plane. Couldn't fit in the seat, and I had to give me an extension for the belt. So, let's talk about my first loss. The first time I lost weight. The very first time I tried, literally, really tried on my own to lose weight. It wasn't the gym teachers, it wasn't the coaches. I did it on my own. What helped me to do it is I had stopped, what I just told you about how I used to drink, I had stopped drinking and drugging. And since I was stopped drinking and drugging, I was going to AA meetings, DA meetings, Al-Anon, and OA meetings. Overeaters Anonymous. I mean, why not? I had to go to meetings, 90 meetings in 90 days. I said, well, I may as well put all these other meetings in it. And I may as well, if I'm going to stop drinking and drugging, maybe I could stop eating like a pig. So that's what I did. So my first weight loss, I got down to a size 42. Before I stopped drinking, I was a size 50. So I got down to a size 42. I did that in a year. And I did that, it was interesting because I did that by bicycling. Okay, here's what I first did. I would go to an AA meeting, leave my house, get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Oh, 5 o'clock in the morning to get up, leave my house at 6. Get to an AA meeting at 7. Get to work at 8:30. So I work, get off at 4. I would walk 10 blocks, maybe 20 blocks to the village, and then get on the train home. But then I didn't go home. I went to another AA meeting. And then I would go home. And I would get home at 10 o'clock at night. And I'll have whatever little thing I'll have, go to sleep, and wake up at 6. And I had a friend said, how could you stay at the house that long? Because I did it 7 days a week. And I said to my friend, I said, listen, my problem is watching TV and eating. I could not watch TV. Couldn't care if it was cartoons, news. As soon as that TV's on, I gotta have something in my mouth. I gotta have food in my mouth. So that's what I did. Get home at 10 o'clock. Went to bed. Get up at 6. I did that 7 days a week. On weekends, when I got up, that's when I did the DA and the OA meetings, mainly on weekends. Because I used to go 2 or 3. I used to be at the house. Mind you, I leave the house. Well, then on weekends, I didn't leave the house till like 7 or 8. I leave the house, let's say 7 or 8 a Saturday and Sunday. I might go to most likely an AA meeting first. And I always go like downtown meetings in Manhattan. Then I'll go and have, sit in a coffee shop. I might have something, lunch. Then I'll go to another meeting. It's probably, let's say, an OA meeting. Then I'll go and maybe have, do a little walking and have my favorite at the time. I used to drink a lot of Diet Coke. I should say Diet Pepsi. Right now I haven't had a soda in over 20 years, but at the time I drank a lot of Diet Pepsi. Then I might go to another meeting. Let's say that could be an Al-Anon meeting. Then I might have another walk somewhere the opposite way, have some Diet Coke, and I'll go to another meeting. Whatever meetings I went to, I had to make sure I was not in that house to eat. I love to eat and watch television. That was a danger. Being in the house was dangerous for me. Okay, so now I got down to a size 42. Now it's a couple of years later. What is this, 1988? I'm back up to a size waist 52. Doesn't take long because I used to lose the weight. Once I lose the weight, that was it. It was like, okay, I'll have a little ice cream. Just a little ice cream. Next thing you know, that little ice cream turned into a quart. And that quart turned into a half gallon. Yes. Remember I told you about I wake up in the middle of the night having ice cream? Well, yes. I will buy a half gallon of ice cream on my way from work. My dinner was, I would stop at KFC, I'll get a bucket of chicken, then I'll stop at the supermarket, because they had a cheap, ice cream was cheap at the supermarket, get a half gallon, and I swear to you, I get home at 6, by the time I wake up in the morning, by 6, that ice cream and chicken was gone. Now, mind you, I didn't go to OA meetings pretty much at this time, but I was constantly going to AA meetings. And I used to justify that. I said, well, I'm not drinking. I'm not drugging. I got to do something, which is true. When you stop any habit, you got to replace it with something. That's like people who stop smoking. They got to replace the cigarette with something else. So I wind up, food was already my addiction. So I wind up really being addicted to food at this time. So now it's 1988. I'm back up to size 52 waist. So what I did in 1988, I did what they call OptiFast. That was a pretty decent program. Plus the insurance company paid for it. OptiFast it's a fast, and you have meetings, almost like AA meetings. You have meetings. You talk about what's going on in your life to make you fat, and you see a doctor. I think we did the meetings once or twice a week. So you go and get weighed, and you go to the meetings and OptiFast, and you explain what you had, and. But OptiFast, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was a month or 2 months you didn't eat anything. Anyway, you didn't eat when you're on the fast. It's a little drink you drink. You just have the drink. We call it the Opti. You don't eat anything. I lost 100 pounds. I don't know how long I was on it, but I did lose 100 pounds. And you still see the doc. Even then, they put you back on food, so you still see the doctor and the nurses. They still weigh you. They put you back on food. They give you a diet. This is how much you're supposed to eat. I remember the dietitian handed me the menu. You're only supposed to eat a certain amount of chicken, a certain amount of this. You're supposed to weigh it out and all like this. I lost 100 pounds. Then they put me back on food. Supposed to wean me back on food. I cooked that chicken the way it's supposed to be cooked in the menu. And mind you, it had to have been like I cooked 2 legs, maybe 2 legs, 2 wings. You know, I think, but that was supposed to last me for dinner for 2 days. Once I taste that chicken, and I remember this very, very clearly, once I taste the food, and this is true, once I taste the food, I lost 100 pounds, taste the food, and it was a matter of a week, maybe 2 weeks, I was back to a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken and ice cream. That was my diet. It took me 2 weeks to get back to it. And I remember I was gaining weight, and someone said, "Well, you got to slow down here." And I remember the doctor couldn't believe it. He thought maybe I might get sick or something. I forgot what he called it because I was on a fast, and all of a sudden I was eating. There was a name for that. I can't remember the name, but let's put it this way. He thought something was going to happen to me because I lost 100 pounds doing this fast, and within a week, I think I gained 20 pounds in a week eating that way. It takes me forever to lose weight, but I can gain weight. Has that saying? If I smell food, I can gain weight. That was me. That was me. Now, I did that in 1988. Let's go up to 1993. In 1993, mind you, forget about OptiFast. After I gained that weight and couldn't get it down, I said I ain't doing this anymore. It's like, besides, my drug of choice is actually, my drug of choice at the time was food, but my drug of choice was alcohol and drugs, and I was still going to AA meetings, and that was my best to stay off of alcohol and drugs. Because I'm gonna be telling you, to lose weight was very stressful, and I did not drink through all that stress. I ate, but I didn't drink. So my sobriety was more how you say, was more important to me than eating. So now we're up to 1993. So 1993, because I went to another program. It was one of the doctors where I worked at. I went to her, and it was the same idea. I mean, I still was going to AA meetings, but she put me on what they call FemFem. Because I was 300 pounds, 350 pounds, and I had a waist size of 56. My waist was 56 now. It went from a 40 to a 56 waist. 1993. So I was on FemFem, and I was seeing a psychiatrist, an analyst, whatever you want to call it. And that was helping. That was helping. What happened? I was losing weight. I was seeing my psychiatrist. We talk it out, my insecurities, my self-hatred, which was true. I mean, remember I told you I lost weight the first time I lost 100 pounds when I first got sober? I used to buy clothes smaller than what I was, squeeze into them, look in the mirror, and call myself, you fat fuck. Look at you. And that's how I lost the weight the first time. Constantly hating myself. Okay, so now we should talk about why I hate myself. Why, and that's why I eat so much. Because all the stuff that's going wrong in my life, the usual stuff. I don't have this. I don't have that. I had such a bad childhood. Everything. But I was on FemFem, and I noticed I was losing weight. So you know me. I was going to experiment. I didn't take them. I think I was taking them once or twice a day. I'm not sure, but I stopped taking them, and the weight blew back. I think I didn't take it for 1 or 2 days, and I think I only gained 5 pounds. And I said, oh shit, I stopped. And then I took them again, and the 5 pounds came off. Which that's great. So anyway, I went to the doctor because I made a decision. Decision was, I first had to ask the doctor. I said, do I have to take this? I said, they're working. These pills are working. I said, I noticed that as soon as I stop taking, the weight come back. So are you trying to tell me that I have to take this for the rest of my life? And the doctor said, yes. And I got annoyed. I said, no, I'm not taking this. I don't want to take these FemFem pills for the rest of my life. I'm not doing that. Oh, she blew up. She got indignant. She said, who are you to tell me about my business when I'm telling you that you got to take these pills for the rest of your life, or you always going to be fat? And I said, I'm not taking them for the rest of my life. I'm sorry. And then I think if you know anything about FemFem, a year later they took it off the market because it was giving people heart attacks. I didn't take FemFem. I didn't want to take FemFem again because I don't want to take any medication. This is me. I'm not talking about other people. I don't want to take any medication for the rest of my life. That's just not me. I sometimes think if I had to, I'd probably drop dead because I'm not good at medication. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I can't take medication. I don't know how to take it. If it's going to do anything. FemFem didn't do anything. I forgot to tell you the story. Well, maybe it was after FemFem. Because after FemFem, I heard they said that, oh God, what's the name of that? Oh shit, I can't think of the medicine right now. You get it from the doctor to calm you down, calm your nerves down. I went to a psychiatrist, another psychiatrist, to get that medication, and it's supposed to help you lose weight and get your nerve, get your nerve, whatever. And it didn't work. And I went back to the psychiatrist. It's not working. She goes, why it work? She said, you're not giving it a chance to work. I said, but I'm not swinging on a chandelier. I'm not dancing around the apartment. She said, it's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to make you feel normal. And I looked at her. She was crazy. Normal? Who wants to feel normal? That's why I ate. That's why I drank. That's why I eat. Who wants to feel normal? I don't want to feel normal. I want to feel crazy. I want to go off the wall. I like the discos. I think I did that right after Film. I went to another. So anyway, I did lose weight. Okay? 1997. 1997, I was a waist size 64. Because by this time, I couldn't buy my clothes at Macy's or Alexander. I couldn't buy my clothes for a long time at Macy's and Alexander. I was buying my clothes at the Army and Navy store, but because they had the bigger size, I couldn't buy my clothes at Army and Navy store. I had to get, I think it was a big size catalog for big men, and I bought my clothes from there because they had size 64. I was up to a waist size 64. Waist size 64. 1997. It's horrible. It's horrible. I'm going to give you a description of how big I was. I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but I was 430 pounds in 1997. I had sleep apnea. I could not reach behind to wipe my butt. So I had bought a back scratcher that you use to wash your back in the shower. I had to use that to wipe my butt. It was a mess. It wasn't that great. I hated to go to the bathroom at work. It was okay to go to the bathroom maybe someplace else because you had to stall. And sometimes you go to the bathrooms where you could lock the door. They didn't have too many of those back then, but they had once in a while. We go to a place you could lock the door, so it's just you in the bathroom by yourself. You take your dump, then you go over to the sink, and you soap up that back scratcher, and you reach back there with the back scratcher. That's the only way I could reach back there. I was so big I could not reach. I could not reach to wipe my butt. On top of that, I had to sit down to pee. I could stand up to pee, but you can't see it because your stomach is in the way, so you got to feel for it. But the stomach is in the way, so you sit down to make it easy on you. That wasn't so great because I had so much fat on my butt. I was like a good 10 inches off the stool because my butt was so fat, and I wound up peeing on the floor. I was 430 pounds. It wasn't pretty at all. It wasn't pretty at all. So, everybody at work knew I had sleep apnea. On my lunch, I had an hour lunch. I slept as big as I was. Instead of eating, I slept through my lunch, and people could hear me on the trading floor snoring. I slept the whole time, and people had to wake me up to tell me to go back to work. And I worked on the trading floor. I couldn't stand up. I had to sit down. There's no way with 430 pounds you're going to stand up in a crowd. And they allow me to sit down. I had to get a doctor's note for that too. So, one holiday, I didn't feel like going to work. Now, it was one of those holiday weekends where you had to be at work Tuesday, because Monday's also. You have to be at work. And if you don't show up, you have to have a doctor's note. Why you can't get to work on the weekend. Because so many weekends, after weekends, so many people at work was calling in sick on Monday or calling in sick on Tuesday, that they had to enforce that to make sure people come to work. I was one of them. So I went to my sister and I said, I need a doctor's note. She said, oh, no problem, because we were hanging out that night. She said, oh, no problem. I could just, So she did. I went to this doctor, charged me $50 for a doctor's note. Just gave him the $50, took the note to Human Resources. Here's my proof. I was sick, blah, blah, blah. The Human Resource person looked at the note and said, you can't go back to work. And I looked at her, what do you mean I can't go back to work? I got the doctor's note. She said, but the doctor's note said that you got sleep apnea and you are morbidly obese and you need an operation. I said, I need what? She said, well, you can't come back until the doctor said you're well enough to come back. I didn't know. I know we talked about this operation, what she was talking about, the doctor. He kept saying, you need this, you need this. I must have said, okay. I probably did, because I just want the damn doctor's note. Well, anyway, what the doctor had put down, we had talked about what they call that bypass. I didn't want a bypass operation. But I had no choice but to go through this because he had it on the note, the doctor's note. What was I going to do? Lie and tell the truth that, I wasn't sick. I was hanging out with my sister, and she told me to get this doctor's note. I couldn't say that. So anyway, to make a long story short, and I'm going to end this with this last story. Yes, I saw the doctor who's going to perform the operation, and before they give you the operation, you have to prove to them that you could walk up a flight of stairs. And I guess I proved that to him that I could do that, and I think I had to lose some weight, not a lot, to prove that I can lose weight. I think I did that. Then he said he wasn't going to give me the bypass. He was going to staple my stomach and put a band around my stomach so I don't eat a lot. If I did, I'll throw up, which I did. I said, okay. I had to say okay. What do I want to say? So anyway, the day of the operation, you know how they prep you, they prep me. And I'm nervous now because I never had an operation. And then even though when I saw the papers I had to sign while they were prepping me, they waited till they prepped me to have me sign these papers. And one of the papers that I had to sign, they are not responsible if I die. I said, wait a minute, not responsible? I was signing papers stating that I agree to have this operation, and if anything goes wrong, like death, they were not responsible. I couldn't hold them responsible. And I said to the nurse, I said, wait a minute. Now, mind you, as soon as I said, wait a minute, it was too late because she'd already pumped me something inside me, in my arm. I said, I changed my mind. I kept saying, I changed my mind. It was too late. I was out. When I woke up, they had did the operation already. So in 1997, I had my stomach stapled, a band put around my stomach, and that was a new journey on losing weight. I'm going to say this. I'll save the rest for another podcast. I did lose 130 pounds within a year. So 1998 and 1999, I lost close to 130 pounds. But I'm going to say this. By 2008, I was back up again. And in 2016, I was down to my lowest weight, which is 206. I'll leave that journey for another podcast. This is Eric, and thank you for listening to the craziness that lives inside my head.